I worked on the population of freshwater turtles and their change in response to the addition of basking logs. The results of the research focused on how the basking logs impacted them, and so our results were inconclusive in the actual trapping data that we got, but primarily the baskings that I observed, I saw a decrease in baskings over the period of summer, which could have been due to macroalgae blooms, the addition of competition for space due to the other aquatic birds, such as herons, which are predators of turtles, and ducks, which just simply fill up the space. The other observation I saw was that we had two basking logs. One was in the middle of the water, one was adjacent to the land, and that turtles preferred the one in the middle of the water compared to the one adjacent to land. Primarily, I believe, and other research has shown, that turtles are very fearful of humans, and that if a human essentially disturbs them, they won't come back to that site for maybe half an hour, even to an hour. So if humans are constantly near it, they'll stay away, and the one in the middle of the water, there's not much threat of human disturbance, so they'll remain there longer, which is why they prefer that site. That's a partial conclusion because there hasn't been a lot of studies on the addition of basking logs and what actually happens. So I really wanted to see if there would be an increase in juvenile population, but I didn't see that. Because our trapping data was poor. We're not sure why. It could have been because we used a different bait and it wasn't as effective. It could have been that we trapped too late in the season. It was too cold and they already started their hibernation period. So we're going to try again in June and July of this upcoming summer to see if see if we can get any better trapping data to see if there is an increase in juvenile population, because juveniles are heavily correlated with basking, which they need desperately in their early development years.
Okay, in big part, we're here to basically support what's going on here as sort of as consumers of the watershed, as paddlers. We're here to kind of help to promote and to help to support the activities and the work that watershed specialists and people like that do. But we're also here to promote our own club and our activities to try to get more people actively using the river.
You're primarily on the Schuylkill.
Well, that's kind of our mother river, if you want to call it that. But our activities go down into Delaware and Maryland and upstate and in New York and other rivers in Pennsylvania. So we do have trips kind of all over the region, but we definitely do trips on the Schuylkill River and the Tulpehocken and the watershed rivers of this section. The health of the river is important to everybody. I think we all know that. But we benefit because we have clean waterways to paddle, and it looks good, it feels good, and we can enjoy the river the way it's supposed to be with the water's clean. And we see wildlife. One of the things that I've found about having paddled in so many other places is that this river has an abundant amount of life. You see it just with the number of waterfowl and birds and life in the river. You see it clearly compared to some of the other places we've been. But the river seems very healthy because of the abundance of those things that are pretty obvious to see.
We were formed in 1937, and we've been constantly raising fish for the Pennsylvania Fish and Boat Commission for the last almost 40 years. Something like that. 40 years we've been raising fish for the Fish Commission. If we have good headwaters, we're going to have clean streams with the right biodiversity to keep the trout alive and make fishing for a pleasurable thing for everybody in the area. And Valley Creek is a remarkable stream because it's located only 25 miles from a major metropolis, which is Philadelphia. And the watershed is impervious, 27% impervious. So to have a wild trout stream in Valley Forge there in this area is just actually a miracle, and everybody works hard to make it work.